Let's learn about the 12 houses in astrology. This is how a Vedic astrology chart looks like. However, whether it is Vedic astrology or Western astrology, the impact, significance, and interpretation of the houses would remain the same. So, this is how the chart or the personal horoscope would look like. As you can see, the first diamond is the first house, and next to it is the second house. So say if your first house, the sign that placed in the first house is Aries, then in the natural order the second house would be Taurus, and the third house would be Gemini, the fourth house would be Cancer, the fifth house would be Leo, the sixth house would be Virgo, seventh would be Libra, eighth would be Scorpio, ninth would be Sagittarius, 10th house would be Capricorn, 11th would be Aquarius, and 12th house would be the last sign, Pisces. However, whenever a personal astrology chart or horoscope is made according to the date, time, place of the native, the first house would be the rising sign, which is the sign that was rising in the eastern horizon at the time of the birth. So, when you check your chart, you can start studying the houses from the first house itself. Now, let's learn about the first house. So, the first house where your first sign is placed becomes your rising sign or your ascendant sign, and this is the most personal and most powerful house from where you study the entire chart. The entire chart is impacted by the first house, so this becomes one of the most powerful houses. So, the first house uh, reveals your identity, your overall well being. I've written down the keywords, and your personality, the temperament that you have, your psychological motivation to pursue anything in life, your leadership skills, your body, and the life path that you take in life to fulfill all your duties, your karma, and relationships, and anything and everything that you pursue in this lifetime, that the medium of it, the life path that is carved out for you, is seen from the first house. Now, say the first house is Capricorn, the sign Capricorn is in the first house. What does that means? It would show that you have Saturnian qualities. Why? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So whichever sign is placed, you will check the ruler of the house. So Sun is the ruler of Leo, Moon is the ruler of Cancer, Mars is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio, Venus is the ruler of Taurus and Libra, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and Gemini, and Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces. This way, you will check what is the ruler of the first house, then you will check where the ruler is placed. So if your first house is Capricorn, the dispositor or the lord of the first house would become Saturn, then you will check the placement of Saturn in your horoscope. Where is it placed, what aspects is it receiving, in which house it is placed, in which sign it is placed. So see, astrology is always seen in depth and in detail, and there are multiple aspects to it, so you cannot just look at it in a shallow manner or a surface level manner. You have to always check a chart or study a chart in depth, and only then will you get the clear picture of any horoscope. Now let's learn about the second house. The second house governs your values, your interests, your family wealth, assets, your possessions. So anything that you own, your material, anything movable that you own is your second house, and your food habits, your speech, and what is the weight of your speech, how authoritative your speech is, you check from the second house. So say you have Saturn placed in the second house, it would show that you want to create a long lasting family legacy, you are interested in creating a legacy. Now say if you have Rahu placed in the second house, it would show that you hoard material wealth, and you hoard material assets, and you are very possessive about your assets. While if Saturn is placed, you're not much concerned. It will, yes, family wealth will be generated in its own time, because any wherever Saturn is placed, it takes a good time, like a long time, for that thing to develop in our life. So say you have Saturn placed here, you're more interested in creating a legacy and less interested in just holding on wealth and material possessions. So this is how you check second house. Also your food habits. What sort of food habits do you have? Are you uh, into are you do you have a very disciplined approach while eating, or are you very exploring in terms of food, or you like very rich food? So all these things you check from the second house. Now coming to the third house. The third house shows how you express in life, your expression. So say you have Mercury and Venus placed in the third house, it would show that you express through music or musical instruments. Third house also shows your style of communication, how you're able to communicate, how you think, how your intellectual skills are, and the skills that you possess, the skills that you use to incur any profit gains and income in your life. So those are your third house. It shows your courage and how you're able to make efforts in your life for your desires, or what mediums do you take to make those efforts. It also shows the local community, the local groups that you participate in, or the local environment that you live in. It also shows your relationship with brothers and younger siblings and neighbors, and all the local travels and transport that you take for your daily life is also your third house. Okay, coming to the fourth house. So let's talk about the fourth house. The fourth house governs your home and your family life, your inner happiness, and your mother. It shows how happy you are and how you feel secured in life, and what do you really need to feel secure in life. It shows the material mediums of comfort and luxury that you own in life, your vehicles, your home, how big your home is, or what restrictions that you face at home, what limitations that you face at home, or what is your state of mind when you are at home. Do you really feel like staying at home, or do you just want to move out of home whenever you are at home? It shows how many real estate will you own, or basically the ownership of land. It also shows any business that is based out of home, or home decor or hospitality business. It shows your relationship with your mother and all the maternal figures in your life. And it basically shows who feels home to you. Like when you are with a person, when you are in an environment, where do you really feel like you belong? So where do you actually belong? It shows your lineage and your ancestors and how connected you are to your roots and lineage. So this is what your fourth house shows. Now let's talk about the fifth house. So fifth house is your inner child activated. You know how you have fun and how you enjoy with friends and lovers, in that sense also your love life or love affairs, your relationships, and your ability to take risks. So it shows all the speculative activities like stock market, sports, betting, gambling, and you can even say tarot. And it shows cinema and the entertainment industry. Now if you have a planet placed here which is also connected with your 10th house, then you are likely to have a career in the entertainment industry, or drama, theater, cinema, and you are probably an artist in that case. So this is what you see from the fifth house. Now see, when you talk of the fifth house, you can think of fifth house as the court or inner king's palace, you know, the court where all the entertainment takes place in a king's palace. You can think of the fifth house as that. So all the amusement activities, all the drama, dancing, theater, all the enjoyment, all that is connected with your fifth house. And also, let's not forget, fifth house is also your education and the children that you know, your children or your own childhood is both the fifth house. All right, so let's talk about the sixth house. So sixth house is the house of daily routine and service, how you give service to others or the society, how disciplined you are when it comes to your daily life, and what is your approach to your daily life. Do you like slow mornings, or do you just rush off in the morning? Everything that is connected with your daily affairs is your sixth house. Now it also governs your health and what illnesses you face, how robust you are, or how delicate you are, or how sensitive you are, or if you are an empath, and what sorts of illnesses and challenges you face in life, what sorts of diseases you face in life. Now say Mercury is placed in the sixth house, then you'll probably face something related with your nervous system. And say if you have Jupiter placed here, then you can see diabetes from that house. In that case, you need to be aware of diabetes. And say you Rahu joins Jupiter, the North Node Rahu joins Jupiter in the sixth house, it shows that one can fall off from a very high place. So this is how you check the sea house and the planets placed here, the sign that is here, the planetary aspects that you receive, and that is how you interpret that house. That is how you predict what are the things that you're going to face connected to that house. So and then yes, sixth house is also the court cases that you face, because it is the house of the enemies, the house of the debts that you accumulate, in the house of all the challenges and obstacles. So also shows the court cases. And it can also show the profession of law, and especially lawyers who are engaged in divorce cases, or you know, civil law. Yeah. Now let's come to the seventh house. So seventh house is the house of union, partnership, and marriage. The coming together of two people is the seventh house. So the person who is standing across you, now you have to see it that first house and seventh house are just opposite to each other. So if you are the first house, then the person who is standing right across you activates your seventh house. So whenever you meet a person for the first time, your seventh house is activated. And then when you form a relationship, a personal relationship with that person, say the person becomes your friend, in that case your fifth house and 11th house would get activated. But whenever you meet somebody for the first time, even when you go visit a doctor, then your seventh house is activated. All right, so any sort of legal union, legal partnership is seventh house. So be it business partnership or marriage partnership. So in that case, you also check your marriage and the characteristics of your spouse, or the things that you're looking for in your spouse. All that you check from the seventh house. Of course, if you have to really check, you know, in detail about your spouse, you will then also have to check where the dispositor is placed. So astrology, you know, you cannot just look at it in a shallow or surface level way. You have to always go into the depths and, you know, go into the houses where the dispositor is placed. What sign is the dispositor placed in, which house, and what planetary aspects is it getting. So dispositor is basically the house lord. So say moon is placed in seventh house, then the dispositor, and your seventh house is Scorpio, the dispositor would be Mars, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars. So you'll have to check the condition of the house of where the where Mars is placed. So say your moon is in the seventh house, in the house of Scorpio, you would then check the placement of Mars, because Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. So this is how you check astrology in details, and then you check the time periods, the dasha, antardasha, and the transits that you're facing. So you have to check in many different aspects, and then you can come to a certain conclusion whenever you are trying to understand something from the chart or predict something from the chart. So this is your 7th house. Now let's come to the 8th house. So the 8th house shows all the mysteries of life. It is one of the most mysterious houses. It shows your death, rebirth, and transformation. So any sudden events that take place in your life, any sudden ups and downs that you face in your life is your 8th house. And the regenerative qualities that you have is your 8th house. So see, all the illnesses that you're facing, which is mysterious in nature, wherein you're not able to detect it and later it becomes a chronic illness, then that is your 8th house. And how you're able to revive and regenerate from that illness is also your 8th house. So in that sense, your spiritual evolution, your spiritual transformation is your 8th house. The occult and mysticism is 8th house. Astrology and spiritual growth, psychic powers, all that you check from the 8th house. Also, it is the second from the 7th house. So the family of your spouse, your in-laws, and your relationship with the in-laws, how supportive they would be, how they would bless you in your marriage is also the 8th house. And the inheritance that you receive from the dead is also the 8th house. And your shared resources with your spouse, the resources that you co-own, the wealth that you co-own with your spouse is also your 8th house. Now say your 10th house and 8th house are connected, or your 6th house and your 8th house are connected, it would show a profession in astrology or occult sciences. Coming to the 9th house. So when we talk about the 9th house, the first thing is your dharma or righteousness is the 9th house, while your karma or right actions is your 10th house. So your faith, belief, your religious outlook, how religious you are, the rituals that you participate in, or the activities, the spiritual activities that you participate in, or that you are interested in, is your 9th house. You also see fanaticism, like those religious fanatics. This is also seen from the 9th house. The higher learning, so the 5th house was the initial learning, the education that takes place in school, while the higher learning is seen like PhD and advanced education, advanced courses is all seen through 9th house. Also publication work is 9th house. So say you have sun placed in the 9th house, which is connected with your 6th house, it would show that you have a religious interest, and you want to give service to people through religious mediums. So the planets placed and the aspects it receives, and the transit, the planetary transit. So say you have a planet Saturn transiting through your 9th house, and then that is how you would check the impacts of 9th house in your life in that time period. Now long distance travel is also connected with 9th house. All the exploration that you're interested in and all the learnings that happens through exploring lands is your 9th house. And all the guru figures that you come across, sometimes you don't come across a guru until very late in life. So say you have Saturn placed in your natal chart in 9th house, you would come across a guru at a very later stage in life. You would not meet the right guru until you are 33 or 35 of age. That is when Saturn matures in our charts and gives us that solid impact. And your ideals and philosophies and how you express that philosophy is also your 9th house, as it is uh, also the house of. So see, this is the house that is connected with the sign of Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is the ninth sign, so it is connected with wisdom, higher learning, and traveling, long distance traveling, exploring places, and accumulating wisdom through it. So all this you see from the ninth house, and all the foreign languages that you learn is also the ninth house. Coming to the 10th house. Now, 10th house is the house of action, karma. So, Sun and Mars have full directional strength here, and also become dictatorial in qualities if placed in the 10th house. And in that sense, if you see, now what is Sun connected with? What is Mars connected with? Mars is connected with energy, action. So, the action that you know, take in life in the house of karma, like, the progress that happens through that karma, your worldly progress, your work environment is all 10th house. So see, in earlier times, 10th house used to be the house of profession. Why? Because we used to follow the profession of the father. So because 10th house is also the house of father and fatherly figures, so that's why it was the house of profession. Now it is seen more like the work environment or the public life, the social life, or yeah, if the profession is connected with business or say politics, or or a government job, then obviously you will check the 10th house. However, if you're checking the service, a job that you're taking, then you would check the 6th house. And you also see the talents that you possess, and the ambitions and the aspirations that you have, and the power struggle in your life from the 10th house. You see the sense of duty that you possess from the 10th house, the social status that you have, all the honors and all the you know the public reputation that you receive is the 10th house. Your relationship with your father, how supportive your father would be, what support you would receive from your father, your authority, the authoritative figures in your life, or the government of the country that you live in is all 10th house. All right, so coming to the 11th house. Now, the 11th house is the house of hopes, wishes, dreams, and fulfillment. It shows whether you will be able to fulfill those wishes or not. It shows your long term goals in life, your network circle, your community, or the connections with large organizations, MNCs. It shows how you're able to derive income in life. So your income, your profit, it shows if your income will be steady or not, or if you will have multiple sources of income. It shows your connection with connections, your friends, connections with influential people in your life, and how they are able to help you in your life to get any power or business contracts. It also shows the clubs that you join, the political associations, or the larger group associations that you join or belong to. And most importantly, it shows your vision in life, the vision that you have, the vision that you have formed through your ideals and philosophies. Why? Because it is the third house from the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of ideals and philosophies, and 11th house is third from ninth. So the expression of those ideals and philosophies, your vision, what vision you form through the philosophy that your faith, your belief that you possess in life, is all your 11th house. Now, coming to the last house, the 12th house. The 12th house is the moksha house. It is one of the most important houses. See, the first 11 houses are the houses of the worldly world, and when you're away from the worldly affairs, then you see the 12th house, then your 12th house is activated. So what all is away from the worldly world? The ashram, the spiritual ashram that is away from the society, jail, rehabilitation center, mental asylums are all away from the society. Isolation,
when you want to be isolated from the world. And in that sense also your imagination, your fascination, your fantasies are all your 12th house. Your bedtime, your dreams. Why? Because when you go to sleep, you're away from all the worldly affairs, so your dreams, your subconscious is the 12th house. See, in that sense also the foreign lands is the 12th house. Now when you look at the 12th house, it is the house of loss. It is the house of, it is the 12th from the first house, and first house is the house of self. So the loss of self is the 12th house. When you lose yourself in the spiritual activities in the spiritual world is also the 12th house. Getting moksha, renunciation, is also the 12th house. Then in that sense it would also show escapism, when you don't want to deal with the worldly affairs, when you don't want to deal with the situations going on in your life, when you don't want to face it, and then you want to escape through means like alcohol or spirituality, depending upon how benefic or malefic the planets are placed in the house. If you have benefic planets placed in the house, you would be more into spirituality. If you have malefic planets placed in the house, then it could show a visit to jail, rehabilitation center, asylum. It could show that you just want to avoid the world and escape the world through bad toxic means like alcohol and drugs, and drug addicts is all seen through the 12th house. So the ultimate moksha is the 12th house, the house of self undoing, getting rid of the cycle of karma, of birth and rebirth, cause and effect. That is the 12th house.